Yo, what is going on, guys? It's C-Brev. Welcome to another MLB The Show 20 video. In this one, we're going to be continuing our divisional breakdowns for Showdown. This video is going to be going over the AL East and defeating final boss Gerrit Cole. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe for more MLB The Show 20 content. Drop a like on the video, it helps me out a ton, and drop a comment if you have any questions. So this division was highly requested. A lot of people seem to be struggling with the AL East, and I will say that I think the AL East is probably one of the two hardest divisions for Showdown for a multitude of reasons. Each of the mini bosses is a diamond pitcher, a diamond life series card, so you end up facing 3 diamonds throughout Showdown, as opposed to something like the AL West where you face 1 diamond throughout the entire Showdown. Additionally, the Yankees outfield, with the final boss being Gerrit Cole, you got Aaron Hicks in center field, Aaron Judge in right field, and Stanton in left field, who's not a bad fielder. But 2 out of the 3 outfielders are just insane defensively, so they just run everything down in the outfield, and I think that's one of the reasons the AL East is so difficult, aside from the obvious fact that Gerrit Cole is an insanely good pitcher. So we're going to walk through the AL East. I'll try to give you guys the best tips that I can for each section, and then we will beat the final boss, and yeah, we'll give it a go. So let's go through draft. Really, what you want to be looking for in the draft is more even splits than anything. If you want to favor power versus right, that's good because of the final boss of Gerrit Cole and the initial boss of Charlie Morton, but keep in mind you do have to face Chris Sale in the middle, so if you have someone who is struggling against lefties, that might be a bit of a challenge when you get to Fenway Park. So this is actually a tough part of the draft. You'll have to ask yourself if you really struggle with Chris Sale, and if you do, then Mancini is probably the play. If you're someone who tends to struggle against Chris Sale when you face him in these showdowns, I would go for more even splits than versus righties. If you're someone who can hit Chris Sale pretty well, I would try to focus around building hitters that hit righties really well to give yourself a better chance against Gerrit Cole at the end. So I'm going to personally go with David Ortiz because he's better against Gerrit Cole. But like I said, if you struggle against Sale, then Mancini is probably the move there. Remember, defense doesn't really matter. You're just looking for good hitters and just guys that can get the job done at the plate, since all of the boss battles are hitting only. Additionally, as I've said in other videos, when you are drafting pitchers, you only need 1 starting pitcher and 1 closing pitcher because all the pitching moments will either pick your ace or your closer, so you really only need 2 pitchers, but once again, prioritize hitting, and we get rewarded with silver Trey Mancini, so that's really good. There's several good silvers in this division, most of them on the Yankees. The golds are also almost all on the Yankees as well. I will say, if you get a chance to get Aaron Hicks, go ahead and pick him, unless there's someone else insane in the round. 83 power versus right, plays really well against Gerrit Cole at the end. He's also a switch hitter that has decent stats versus lefties, so he's just a really good overall card for the entire run. So if you see Aaron Hicks, that's a good move. I also really like Renato Nunez in the bronze round. Really good hitting stats for a bronze. His overall is only low because of his fielding, so that's another good pick. This is actually turning into a pretty good draft. Bobby Dalbec, also a good hitter. Great power versus left, decent versus righties. Another good move here. You could also look at Reese McGuire for catcher because he's got that nice contact versus right. After this, we'll back out and we'll look at all the budget players, all the good players you can take in your draft for this. And then Zunino is another good one, depending on how good you are with your PCI placement. He's got 72 power versus both, but really low vision. So if your PCI placement isn't there, probably not the best move, but McKinney is really good as well. That was a really good bronze round. As far as perks, if you're skipping to the end, obviously you don't have as much control over your perks, but if you're not skipping to the end and you're playing the showdown all the way through, I think the best perks for this division, obviously Heart Attack being number 1. I think Rattled is really good, and then I really like Insider Info and Oppo Taco because in Yankee Stadium in the final challenge, you have pretty short porches to both left and right field, and we're going to want to be staying away from Aaron Hicks in center field, so pulling the ball or hitting the ball opposite field are really good to try to aim for those corners, so I really like Insider Info, Oppo Taco for this division, but we'll break it down more as we move through. So this is one of the divisions. Remember, don't forget to equip your perks, and don't forget to set your lineup ahead of time. And also remember, for the bosses, you want to have the best hitters at every position, and it doesn't matter if you're playing people out of position. Randall Grichuk is an amazing bronze card. This is a really good draft. All right, let's back out. Look at my inventory. Look at some of the hitters you want to be shooting for in this draft. Remember, these are all live series cards as it stands right now. And as it stands right now, Gerrit Cole is the only final boss you can face in the AL East. This is subject to change. Obviously, they just updated the AL Central in the last content drop. So this might not be true all the way through, but for now, it's just Gerrit Cole. So obviously, you could prefer even splits if you want, but if you have to choose, I'd take someone that's better against righties. Mancini is good. We talked about Renato Nunez. JD Martinez, great gold card. Vasquez is okay, not the best power versus righty though. Any Red Sox, Moreland is really good. 63 contact, 78 power versus right. I like that card a lot. Chavis has a nice swing but low vision. Moving on to the Yankees, these are mostly where you're going to be looking for good cards. Gary Sanchez is really good. Gardner's good versus righties. Aaron Hicks we talked about. Urshela's good. Andujar's good. Voit is good. The Yankees are just stacked as far as hitters go. For the Rays, I really like Hunter Renfroe. We took Austin Meadows, obviously, but not the best gold you can get. Brandon Lau, great swing. I think that's it. Oh, yeah, and Jose Martinez, really good vision. Going to help you a lot versus Chris Sale. And then G-Man Choi, I don't know what it is about G-Man Choi, but his swing, he just hits dingers in the final boss battle. I don't know, man. The Rays have some great budget guys as well as Nino Diaz. And then for the Blue Jays, I really like Grichuk as a bronze. This guy's swing is super good. If you see a Randall Grichuk, go ahead and pick him up. So let's go back to the showdown. Set our lineup. I think we had it covered. And as far as if you're skipping to the end right away, I always tend to say to put your best hitter first and your second best hitter 8th. And that kind of gives you a little more lineup diversity. And then you kind of want to spread out the rest of your good hitters throughout the lineup, mix them in with your bad hitters. But for this, we're not going to be skipping to the end, and I'm going to say that this being one of the toughest divisions, I think you should try to play as many of these small blue moments as you can, even the pitching ones. I've said in other videos, it's a balance of picking between how much help do you need at the end compared to how much time do you want to spend in the showdown. I think every run is important for this division specifically, especially if you are struggling in the final boss battle. So usually I say if it takes longer than half an inning to just quit out of it, and you can load in, quit out, and it'll move you on to the next moment. But if you're a person that's really struggling, just try to get as much help as you can in this division, because this is one of the hardest divisions to have success with. That being said, for the purposes of keeping this video kind of short in length, I'm going to skip ahead until I get to the first boss battle, which is against Charlie Morton. But like I said, I advise if you're struggling even a little bit, just try to knock out as many of these as you can, because every run helps. This is a good division to take things slow and give yourself the highest chance for success. So I'll see you guys at the Charlie Morton boss battle. Alright, so we are at the first boss battle, which is against Charlie Morton. You're going to be down 3-0 with 12 outs, so you need to score 4 runs in 12 outs. As always, as you're going into these boss battles, make sure you're going back into your lineup and just getting your best hitters against whatever handedness pitcher you're facing, and it does not matter if they're out of position. So like Willy Adames is not as good a hitter against righties as Randall Grichuk, so we're going to put him in there, and then we're going to make sure we have one guy coming off the bench to hit against righties. It's going to be Nunez or Tauchman, whatever we're feeling like when we get into the game. So let's load in, and I'll go over the strategies for Charlie Morton. Alright, so here's the player card for Charlie Morton. As you can see, a Diamond Live Series card for the first boss battle of this division. That's why I think this division is one of the hardest. But you can attack Charlie Morton in a certain way that I think helps a lot. So if you notice, his walks per 9 are 64, pretty low, not the best control. So as always, we'll go over the core principles of beating these boss battles. Be patient, don't swing at pitches on the corner if you can help it. Avoid double plays at all costs. Be hyper conservative on the base paths. You don't want to be giving away outs for no reason, and there's one more that I'm forgetting, but let's talk about Charlie Morton in general. So pretty interesting pitcher, especially when controlled by the CPU. The most interesting thing about this card is that he is a curveball primary, and the CPU tends to throw the primary pitch more than any other pitch. So you're going to see a heavy dose of curveballs from this card, and it's important with the approach against Charlie Morton to be very patient early in the count. My suggestion for y'all is to pretty much take until 2 strikes unless he hangs an off-speed pitch. It's definitely a different boss battle, definitely a difficult one, unique and not our typical approach, because usually we're sitting fastball with these pitchers. But with Morton, be patient, look for hanging off-speed early in the count. Otherwise, make sure you're swinging at good pitches and taking until 2 strikes if you're not feeling comfortable with the guy you have at the plate. Also, 84 stamina is pretty low. Can you see that? Yeah, you can. 84 stamina is pretty low for a starting pitcher, so you can get this guy in the yellow energy if you're working the count deep enough. Hopefully it doesn't get that far. Hopefully you can knock out the 4 runs early, but that's just my suggestion. Look for hanging off speed. Try to stay away from his fastballs, especially early in the count, because they're very easy to roll over. If he sneaks in a 2-seamer or a cutter on you, very easy to swing early and roll it over for an easy ground out. One final thing, when facing the Rays, they have one of the best center fielders in the game defensively in Kevin Kiermaier. We're going to want to be doing our best to spread the ball to the corners, so left field and right field, and the gaps. The gaps are actually your friend in this park because it's a pretty wide center field. You'll be able to get the ball in the gaps pretty easily if you hit it hard. Our main goal is to just try to play keep away from Kevin Kiermaier in center field, look for off speed, and try to avoid fastballs early in the count. So we're going to go ahead and take on this Charlie Morton, and then we'll hop into the next third of this AL East Showdown. We take down Charlie Morton. We're going to get a gold player and a gold perk out of this. Before I go through this part of the draft, I just want to reiterate one more time versus Charlie Morton. Very important to be sitting off speed early in the count and avoiding fastballs early in the count. He's very much a backwards approach to what we usually do. And I just want to reiterate that because it's unique and I want to give you guys the best chance in these moments. So we're going to take Gardner because we want the guy that can hit righties. For our perk, we're going to go Insider Info. As I said, very good for what we're trying to do in this division, and these do actually stack, although I want to keep Aqua Taco and Heart Attack, so I'll just replace the silver there. So once you get out of the boss battle, make sure to go back in and put guys in their proper positions so that you aren't making fielding errors in the moments where you have to pitch, and make sure you're putting your new players on your bench that you just drafted. So we are going to skip ahead to the next boss battle, which is Chris Sale. Going to be a much different approach. Like I said, if you really need the help, make sure you're doing as many of these small blue moments as you can. We're going to try to knock some of them out, and I'll see you guys at the Chris Sale boss battle. We are at the Chris Sale boss battle. We're going to be down 3-0, but with only 10 outs in this one, so we got to score 4 runs with 10 outs to go. As always, remember, I'm going to keep saying it, change out your perks, update your squad before you go into these, and remember, Chris Sale is a lefty. So we're going to have to make some pretty significant lineup changes to make sure we give ourselves the best chance to beat lefties. So that's probably going to mean benching Ortiz and so on. But we'll hop into the moment and I will go through my strategy versus Chris Sale. Alright, here is Chris Sale's player card. This is what we're going to be going up against in the second boss battle. As you can see, much better control than a lot of the pitchers that you will be facing in these showdowns. And our approach versus Chris Sale is pretty much going to be exactly the opposite of what we did against Charlie Morton. So again, remember our core principles: be patient, try not to swing at things on the corners, try to take walks if you're 2-0 or 3-0 or 3-1 in the count. Make sure you're hyper conservative on the base paths. Every out is precious. And I'm forgetting one other thing. You guys can play it back. But with Chris Sale, he's going to throw you a lot of fastballs. He's going to throw you a lot of strikes. And his off speed is very recognizable out of the hand. And because of the difficulty that this challenge is on, you will have enough time to sit fastball and then react to the off speed. I think Chris Sale has some of the easiest off speed to recognize out of any of the showdown bosses. So our approach is going to be to sit fastball, and our goal is to make left field our friend. Left field is our absolute best friend in this boss battle. One, because we're at Fenway Park, obviously we got the green monster that's going to help us get some base hits on balls that probably would be flyouts in other stadiums. Also, there is no DH in Diamond Dynasty, and the Red Sox computer team has JD Martinez playing left field, who has some of the worst fielding stats out of any player in the entire game. If you hit a line drive to left field, even if it's pretty close to him, there's a good chance he gets that bad animation where he hesitates for a second and the ball is going to drop. So left field is your absolute best friend in this moment. Sitting fastball is your absolute best friend in this moment. That being said, try not to swing at fastballs early in the count if they're on the corners. We don't want to be giving away outs. So that's generally my approach. We're trying to hit the ball to left field. We're trying to sit fastball. Hopefully that helps you guys. We're going to go ahead and beat this moment, and then we'll hop into the final third of the showdown. Chris Sale goes down. We're going to get a diamond player and a diamond perk, and we're going to try to focus on people that hit righties well. But we got absolutely boned, and they gave us 4 pitchers, so that is highly unfortunate. We'll take Gerrit Cole just to let him know that we own him and he doesn't own us. As far as the perks, I really like Ice Water Veins. One of the core principles of having success in these final boss battles is taking a lot of pitches, and so Ice Water Veins has great synergy with that. I love Diamond Ice Water Veins a lot, but like I said, for this challenge, Oppo Taco and Insider Info are both really good as well. Let's put Gerrit Cole in. I'm definitely sad they just gave us a pitcher for a diamond. Alright, so that leaves us with 3 moments left. As I said, depending on how much you struggle, you may want to give a crack at each one of these, especially these 2. Even though they're long, even though they might be a little difficult, if you can beat them, you're going to get a diamond player, diamond perk, and this final one before the final boss gives 2 runs. So as much help as you can get, I think, is warranted for this because, like I said, the Gerrit Cole boss battle is very hard. So we're going to try to knock out these. We'll see you guys at the Gerrit Cole battle. Okay, we are at Gerrit Cole, the final boss battle. Once again, don't forget to equip your new perks and change your squad out. Put people out of position because hitting is all that matters for these final boss battles. Also, make sure you got your best hitter first and your second best hitter in the 8-hole. This is going to help you with lineup diversity, making sure you have good hitters throughout your lineup, and make sure you got one guy that can come off the bench and pinch hit. So let's hop into Gerrit Cole and we'll go over the strategy versus this final boss battle. So here is 91 Gerrit Cole. This is the pitcher we're going to be going up against in the final boss battle. As you can see, once again, another pitcher with pretty low control ratings, which is going to work in our favor. We're going to be following our core principles that we always talk about. Be patient, don't swing at pitches on the corners, or especially early in counts. Avoid double plays at all costs. They are absolutely back-breaking. Try to get on base, work walks, all that good stuff, and be hyper-conservative on the base pass. Against Gerrit Cole specifically, we are going to want to have a very quick bat. He throws a lot of fastballs. They sit around 97, and additionally his off speed is actually pretty fast as well. So if you're swinging early at his off speed, there's a good chance you at least foul it off. But I'm gonna be honest with you guys, this is a hard one, and the majority of your runs are gonna have to come from home runs because, as I mentioned in the very beginning of the video, the Yankees outfield defense is really good. So if you don't get all of it, it's most likely going to be a flyout, and you might even have some lineouts as well. Just make sure you're sitting fastball, being patient. Gerrit Cole will walk you. Stay out of double plays, all that good stuff. He's going to throw you a lot of fastballs. If he hangs you in off speed early in the count, go ahead and go for it. But otherwise, if it's kind of low in the zone and it's off speed, I would stay away, especially early in the count. Also, just want to say I got a lot of runs and some really good players in this run. So as you watch me go through this final boss battle, it may be more difficult for you, and I apologize. I just did really good in this run. The farther behind you are, the more patient you need to be because you need to generate advantages while saving as many outs as you can. So the more walks you can get, the more counts where you can be ahead 3-1, the better off you're gonna be. So we're gonna play this through. I hope this video helped you guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you're new and drop a like on the video. I love all of you, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace. One more quick note, I do have the clear for takeoff perk, which means I get an exit velocity boost on the first 2 pitches of an at-bat. So as you're watching me do this, I'm probably going to be more aggressive in certain situations than you probably should be, just because I have that perk and it's giving me an exit velocity boost. If you don't have clear for takeoff, if you don't have jump start, please don't be swinging at the first 2 pitches of an at-bat unless it's literally a fastball right down the middle. So signing off again, love you guys, see you next time.
For this showdown, they are allowed 20 out, and they are chasing 7 runs. This is one heck of a matchup. Nope, that's inside. Nope, that's the ball. 1-0. Now batting, the center fielder, Aaron